Every night, as the night falls and the city slowly falls asleep, a small family in a quiet suburb is disturbed by a strange phenomenon. In a small but cozy room, baby Emma, a child only 6 months old, lies soundly asleep in a white crib placed near the window. The soft night light emits a warm yellow light, creating a peaceful scene. However, in that room, there is another figure always awake. Max, a smart and loyal golden retriever, lies next to Emma's crib. Its eyes glow in the dark, not out of fear, but out of alertness. Every night, at exactly 2:13 a.m., Max begins to growl. At first, Jack and Sarah thought this was just a normal habit of Max. But when this phenomenon continued for many consecutive nights, both of them began to feel really worried. Jack and Sarah are not people who are easily affected by strange phenomena. Jack, 35, is a civil engineer with more than 10 years of experience in the industry. He is a careful person, always thinks logically, and does not easily believe in the supernatural. Sarah, 32, is a pediatrician who has witnessed many cases of sick children. But she never thought that her own child could be in danger in such a strange way. Since welcoming baby Emma into the world, they have done everything to create the safest environment for their daughter. Their two-story house is located in a quiet residential area, far from the city center, designed in a modern style with elegant white-gray tones. Baby Emma's room is lightly decorated with wallpaper of blue clouds and cute little animals. But now, every night, that room has become a place filled with mystery and anxiety. At first, Sarah thought Max was simply reacting to a strange noise outside the window. Maybe a stray cat or a squirrel running through the yard. But as the phenomenon continued night after night, she began to feel uneasy. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered to Jack one night as they lay in bed. "Did you hear anything?" Jack replied lazily, trying to close his eyes and go back to sleep. Max started growling again. "I don't know why he keeps doing that." Jack listened for a few seconds, then sighed. "Maybe he's just reacting to an animal in the yard. He's always protecting Emma." But Sarah didn't think so. The next night, she decided to stay up to keep an eye on Max. 2 a.m. Everything in the house was quiet. Jack was fast asleep, and Emma was still sleeping soundly in her crib. Sarah looked around her room. Everything looked normal. 2:13 a.m. Max slowly raised his head. 2:15 a.m. He began to growl, not loudly, but alertly. 2:18 a.m. Max stopped just growling. He stepped back, his eyes fixed on a corner of the wall near the crib. Sarah shivered. She hadn't heard anything. But why was Max reacting so strongly? Jack began to investigate the next morning. Jack decided to investigate further. As a civil engineer, he didn't easily ignore unusual signs in his house. He checked the windows, under the bed, every corner of the room, but there was nothing unusual. But when he pressed his ear to the wall near Emma's crib, he heard a very small sound. Tick, 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 a trickling sound like water running through the wall. Jack frowned, feeling that something was wrong. Jack decided to install a surveillance camera in Emma's room to see if anything unusual happened at night. And as expected, at 2:13 a.m., Max started to react again. But this time, the camera recorded something creepy. Max jumped up when he heard the noise. 2:15 a.m., the dog stepped back as if something was bothering him. 2:18 a.m., part of the wall shook slightly, and the sound of dripping water became clearer. Jack ran into the room, touched the wall with his hand, and then, crack, part of the wall cracked, revealing a small stream of water leaking from inside. The next morning, Jack called the repair team. They discovered that the water pipe in the wall had been leaking for a long time, causing serious damage to the foundation. If not discovered in time, the entire wall could collapse, threatening Emma's life. Sarah burst into tears, hugging Max tightly. If it weren't for Max, if he hadn't paid attention to his behavior, what would have happened? Jack was speechless, gently stroking Max's head. He's not just a dog, he's the hero of the family. The next morning, Jack couldn't wait any longer. He immediately called a professional repair team to check the entire plumbing system in the house. When the workers arrived, they brought specialized equipment to detect the source of the water leak. The main worker, Mike, after checking for a while, shook his head. Jack, the situation is worse than we thought. This plumbing system has been leaking for a long time, maybe months, even years. If it is not detected in time, this wall can collapse at any time. Sarah felt a shiver when she heard that. She looked towards Emma's crib and couldn't help but think of the scary prospect if the whole family didn't realize the problem in time. Mike continued to explain, the moisture has penetrated deep into the foundation, not only Emma's bedroom wall, but it can also spread to other areas of the house. We will have to remove this part of the wall to replace the pipes, and then check other areas to see if they are affected. Jack sighed, calculating the cost of the repair in his mind. This would not be a simple job, but the safety of the family was paramount. As the workers began to repair, curious neighbors came over. The neighborhood was quiet, and the arrival of a large repair crew drew everyone's attention. Martha, Jack and Sarah's neighbor, approached with a worried look on her face. Martha, what's going on, Jack? I saw people working since early this morning. Jack smiled, but his face was still tense. He told the story of Max, how his loyal dog had detected a water leak before they even realized it. Martha's eyes widened in surprise. Really? Your dog noticed it? That's unbelievable. I always knew dogs were smart, but this is really amazing. Other neighbors stopped to listen. Some shared their own stories of how their pets had warned them of danger that they had not noticed. A neighbor named David, a former firefighter, nodded and said, dogs really have a sixth sense. In my old fire department, we used to have dogs that could detect gas leaks before the detectors could detect them. I think Max saved your family's life, Jack. The story gradually spread throughout the neighborhood. Everyone was talking about Max's intelligence. Soon, Max's story was shared on social media. Sarah, who loves writing, decided to post an article on Facebook, telling what happened to their family. The article read, sometimes heroes don't wear capes, they're just a loyal dog by your side. We almost lost our daughter's safety if it weren't for Max, our family's golden retriever. For many nights, Max kept growling at a corner of the room, and when we checked, we discovered that the wall had a serious water leak. If not repaired in time, the room could collapse, threatening our daughter's life. This story is not just about a dog. It is about observation, about listening to the smallest signs in life. If an animal can warn of danger, are we listening to what is going on around us? Sarah's post quickly attracted thousands of shares and comments. Some people share their own stories. My dog kept scratching at the window for days. Then I discovered there was a small crack in the window frame, big enough for rainwater to seep in and damage the wooden floor. This is unbelievable. Thank you for sharing this story. I will pay more attention to my dog's behavior. Max is truly a hero. I feel like I need to appreciate my pets more after reading this story. Not long after, a local news channel contacted Jack's family to interview them about this story. After the repairs were completed, the Jack family sat together, feeling lucky to have avoided a disaster. Max curled up at their feet, still loyal as ever. Sarah gently stroked Max's head, whispering, if it weren't for you, Max, we wouldn't have discovered this in time. You are truly a protector of the family. Jack nodded, thought for a moment, then added, we often think of dogs as pets, but really, they are part of the family. They understand us, protect us, and sometimes they see things that we can't. After all, their house was repaired safely. Emma continued to grow up healthy, and Max remained loyal to her. In the afternoons, when the sun set, Emma would crawl close to Max, hug him with her tiny arms, as if knowing that this was the hero who had protected her since the first days of her life. Sarah and Jack watched the scene, smiling. They knew that Max was not just a dog, but an indispensable part of their family. And most of all, it taught them a very important lesson. Never ignore the smallest signs in life, whether it is a small sound, a crack in the wall, or a dog growling at night. Sometimes it can save your life. Max's story has inspired many people. If you also feel the meaning of this story, please share it with your friends and family so that more people can realize the great value of pets. Don't forget to follow our YouTube channel to continue receiving other interesting and emotional stories. If you have had a similar experience with your pet, leave a comment below. Together, we will spread the miracles in life. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel today.